I'm Kathleen Henderson from Roots and Boots, and in this video we're going to show you how to raise ducklings. I am here in one of our brooding pens that my son Malachi is using currently for ducklings. We actually have 2 rounds of ducklings here. One just arrived today. They are brand new baby ducklings here behind me. And then we also have ducklings that are a few weeks old. And the new ducklings, one by one, you are
dunking their beaks in water. Teach them how to drink, so they know where the water is. And a couple of them, they already figured out where the food is.
So you have to show each duckling how to drink and how to eat.
Yep.
So they know where the water is.
Hey, come back here.
And where to find the food.
Right. I'm gonna load this.
So an important part of brooding ducklings is a heat source, like this heat lamp. And I see you have it pretty low.
Yeah, because it has this cage on it so it doesn't catch anything on fire.
The cage prevents it from being a fire hazard because there is straw right below. But ducklings, just like chicks, have a hard time regulating their body temperature at first, right?
Yeah. They don't have their mother, so they need a heat lamp to keep them warm, like a mama duck would.
Until they get their feathers.
Right.
So at first they're just covered with that soft down, and they need a heat source.
Right.
So it's pretty crazy that chicks and ducklings just arrive in the mail. They hatch at the hatchery and they literally stick them in a box right away and send them to us as soon as possible. And chicks and ducklings, baby poultry, are designed not to need food or water for the first couple of days. I guess the idea is even in like the wild, the mom needs to keep the chicks warm and safe for a little while before she teaches them to eat. So anyway, that works out well. When you're ordering them from a hatchery, they can survive for a few days in a box, which is kind of crazy to think about, but this is how it works. We get the call and we go pick up the chicks or the ducklings from the post office, and then we show them how to drink and how to eat, and we keep them warm until they get their adult duck feathers. So these ducklings are a few weeks old. They're a little older. They've been here longer, and you can kind of see where their feathers are starting to come in. One of the funny things about ducks is that they travel everywhere together, even at this very young age. Malachi is 17, he's our oldest, and he is in charge of the ducks. The ducks belong completely to him. He raises them and sells their eggs, and you've been doing this. Did you do this the first year we moved to the farm, or did you start the next year?
Year 2 or 3.
Year 2 or 3, so you've been doing it for like 4 years?
4 years, yeah.
4 years. So let's explain about the brooder, like all the important components that you would need in order to brood ducklings. So you would not need to have so large a brooding pen as we do, but we basically took what is designed to be stalls in a barn, like horse stalls in a horse barn, and we turned this entire stall into a brooding pen. We did it that way because, for one, we raise a lot of chickens. We're getting like 50 or 100 chicks at a time sometimes, and having such a large area for them allows us to walk in and tend to all of their needs. But you could also use any kind of container. I have seen people use like a plastic storage bin. We have sometimes, for a very small group of chicks, we have used like a big metal stock tank. But the important parts are, it needs to be completely protected, especially if you have cats or other animals that could prey on the chicks or the ducklings. For us here in this brooding pen, we have lined all of the sides and the roof with this chicken wire that keeps our cats out and keeps the chicks and ducklings in. The lower part is solid, it's just plywood. And we make sure that the door has a good latch. And then really the only other components are a heat source. You need a heat lamp to help the chicks or ducklings regulate their body temperature. And then you need a water source and a way to feed them. I guess one other thing to point out is that you do need some kind of bedding material. We just throw straw down in the bottom, and you could do the same in a smaller container. Another option is to use wood shavings. Malachi, what breed of ducks do you raise?
These are Khaki Campbells.
Khaki Campbells, and why did you choose that breed?
They are among like the best layers there is. They lay like over 200 eggs a year, which is really good. That's more than a chicken. And they are really cold hardy, and yeah, they're not susceptible as some other ducks are.
So how long does it take before they start laying eggs?
About 6 to 7 months.
So you just got
Just got crapped on, that's what happened.
So it's not a really quick process, right? It's not like
No.
you get ducklings and then you have duck eggs.
No.
You have to tend them.
You have to feed them for like half a year before you get eggs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then tell me about your system. When do you take them? When do they leave the brooder?
They leave the brooder when they're fully fledged, which means they have all their feathers and they're fully waterproof to the outdoors, and they don't need their heat lamp anymore.
So how long does that process take? How long are they in the brooder?
I feel like it normally ends up being about a month. You can
Okay.
double check me on that.
Like 4 to 6 weeks?
Yeah.
And then what is the system, once they leave the brooder, what happens to them? Where do they go?
They join the other ducks. They kind of free range. They don't like fences.
They don't like fences. We've tried a number of experiments to try to contain them, but ducks are really foragers. They like to forage for, what do they eat? What are they foraging for?
Grass and bugs. They're much wilder than chickens are, so they like to roam. They don't go far, and they always come back at night. They like to eat bugs and grass and dabble in the mud puddles and stuff.
They love puddles.
Yeah.
Whenever
they like it when it rains.
they do. And how do you keep them safe at night?
I lock them up in a coop that I built.
So once they're fully fledged and you introduce them to the flock, then they forage during the day, they come back at night, and you lock them up in the coop at night. And then tell me about collecting eggs. Like, what's your daily routine with them? Every morning?
Every morning I go out there, I let them out, and then their eggs are on the floor of their coop. They don't like to use nesting boxes like chickens do either. They prefer to lay their eggs in the mud and the grass, which is annoying because then they get dirty and I have to clean them. But I pick up the eggs from the ground and I feed and water them, and then I put the eggs in a fridge.
And then the ducks?
Roam for the day and come back at night. And then I lock up the door and do it again the next morning.
So every night you lock them up, but they've already entered their coop?
Right.
And then you just lock it, keep them safe?
Yep, most of the time. Sometimes I have to chase them in, but not many times.
And that is how to raise ducklings. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my Roots and Boots YouTube channel for more homesteading, homeschooling, home-based content here on YouTube.